Now you will notice that I'm not able to see any tables inside the schema, and the reason is I have sysadmin role here in this UI. While running that command I was using account admin role. As a result of that, the table owner is account admin and only account admin can see that table. So now you see the role-based access controls and privileges and how they really operate. Yeah. When we created this table, we ran this SQL from worksheet using account admin role. And as a result, sysadmin role was not able to see this table. All right. So we can see this table now. Let's go and have a creation of stage. So inside the public schema, I'm gonna go ahead and create a stage, and I'm gonna use an S3 bucket because this is what Snowflake has provided as a public bucket within which we have certain files. So I'm gonna go here and copy this URL which tells me the location of the S3 bucket, and there's a stage name here. So alright, so this is the URL, and then there is a stage name which we are gonna give to the stage. I'm gonna go ahead and create the stage. The directory table lets us operate on the files with some table structure, and in order to see the files we can create this directory table. Now you can see this particular CSV file inside that stage already because Snowflake has loaded this in this public bucket. Alright, so let's go back to our worksheet, and if I just run this list command, it tells me what files are inside the stage. So right now we have only one file. Now before we load this data from CSV file into the table we just created, we need to create a file format which has the definition of the structure of data inside this CSV. Yeah, so file format is a way for Snowflake to parse and understand the data inside files. So here I'm creating a CSV file format and I'm specifying few things. Many of them are default settings which Snowflake takes automatically, but then you can change some of those settings here. So we created this file format, and if you do a show file format, it tells you what's the kind of file format created. Yeah, so that was our next step from the hands-on lab. So remember, file formats are a way for Snowflake to understand how to read that particular file, and you can find more details about the file formats in Snowflake documentation. We'll talk about that later. So once that is done, we can then make use of this file format to load data from CSV file into Snowflake. For loading the data, we are making use of this copy into statement, which takes data from the stage which we just defined into the table which we had created previously using the file format we just defined. Yeah, so it tells me that use this particular file pattern called .csv. So stage may have multiple files, but we are only going to look for .csv files using this pattern expression. And in case we hit an error, we want to continue loading the data. So Snowflake is going to ignore the errors while loading the data and load rest of the data so that overall job is successful. You can say on error equal to fail, so that in that case Snowflake does not continue loading the data. Now this copy into statement has multiple options. We will go through the details of copy into later in the loading data section. So once you run this command, Snowflake is now loading the data from the stage into Snowflake table, and you'll notice it has taken 3.5 seconds. I'm using this small size warehouse. You can actually change the size of virtual warehouse, which is the compute cluster, within the worksheet tab as well. What we are going to try now is do the same job by having a different size of virtual warehouse. Yeah, so I'm going to truncate this table so that the data is gone. You can see that we don't have any data here. And next I'm going to change the size of this virtual warehouse to large. Okay, and now if you see here, the change has happened. The virtual warehouse has become large warehouse now. You can also see the size of warehouse via a command called show warehouse. Let's do the same job again. So this time it takes 2.5 seconds. And just to show you the same thing again with the extra small warehouse, let's say if this was an extra small warehouse, then how long this job would have taken.